Starting our video out today, I just found out that Poland invoked Article 4 of the NATO alliance, and so the topic of today's discussion doesn't seem as pressing.
A wise guy, eh?
Salutations, fellow nerds. I'm Rick Y, and today is September 10th, 2025. A tragic event just happened, and like clockwork, conservatives are turning it into a spectacle to exploit. But if they stopped for 2 seconds to check history, they'd see a case that undercuts their entire argument. Spoiler, it's painfully on the nose. This one's heavy, so if you need to step away, do what you gotta do. So here are the facts right now. Recently, a 23-year-old woman named, I think, Irina Zarutska fled Ukraine with her family after Russia's invasion. They rebuilt their lives in Charlotte, North Carolina, but last week, that dream ended when a man sitting behind her on a train stood up and, without warning, stabbed her in the neck. Witnesses watched in horror as he continued attacking her even as she fell. She died on the train. He got off at the next stop. He was bleeding, muttering, and he was subsequently arrested. It was horrific and tragic, and of course, not isolated. Enter Vice President Lazy Boy. He said, quote, Daniel Penny prevented this happening on a New York City subway. Instead of thanking him, many hated him for it, end quote. Now, if you don't remember, Daniel Penny is a former Marine who, in May of 2023, put Jordan Neely, a homeless black man, into a chokehold on a New York City subway. Neely was yelling, clearly having a mental health episode. He wasn't armed. He wasn't attacking anyone. And he was killed. Penny was charged with manslaughter, acquitted in 2024, and the right cheered. But apparently, even with a not guilty verdict, they can't stop re-litigating it. But there is a double standard. Here's the thing. Penny and Zarutska's killer aren't comparable at all. Neely was unarmed. He was having a mental breakdown, not an attack. Penny was a Marine trained to assess threats and restrain without killing. He chose a chokehold until death. Now compare that to actual knife-wielding attackers on trains, because there are cases. 2 of them now, in fact. So let's talk about Jeremy Joseph Christian. In 2017, on a Portland light rail train, Christian hurled racist and anti-Muslim slurs at 2 teenage girls, one black, one wearing a hijab. 3 men stepped in to protect them. Christian pulled a knife and stabbed all 3 men. 2, Ricky John Best and Taliesin Namkai Meche, died at the scene. The 3rd, Micah Fletcher, barely survived. And what did the media do? They called those men heroes. Communities held vigils. There was no hand-wringing, no excuses, just a clear recognition of hate-fueled violence. And funny, I couldn't find a single tweet from Vice President Pushin' Cushions on this event. So the hypocrisy. Here's the reality. Zarutska's case was a brutal killing by an American citizen. Christian's case, another American killing in the name of hate. Neely's case, a man in crisis killed while unarmed. Because if conservatives were serious about preventing these tragedies, they deal with the actual crisis, mental health. Instead, their big beautiful bill just slashed Medicaid. 10 million people could lose coverage. They added work requirements for low-income adults, forcing people with mental illness into stressful situations while stripping away their treatment. Because the truth is, they don't want to fix mental health. They want to weaponize it. Because if we're yelling at each other over wedge issues like Neely, Zarutska, Christian, we're not talking about the birthday wishes to Jeffrey Epstein, the crumbling economy, or the fact that the federal budget runs out September 30th. Yep, another Republican-led government shutdown is looming unless Democrats fold. Again. Don't get distracted. That's the whole game. Keep us divided, angry, and distracted while the real damage happens through policy. These tragedies are real, and they deserve better than a political spin. And if you want my takeaway, it's not about race-bait tweets or viral moments. It's that America has a violence problem, a mental health problem, and a leadership problem. Anyway, if you're still with me, thank you for sticking through the heavy stuff. Make sure to like and subscribe, and I will catch you next time. Y'all come back now. You hear?